The views expressed are solely those of the speaker and not necessarily those of Paltalk.com, AVM software, or its advertisers.
News Talk is online. News Talk Online is a production of Paltalk.com, the largest multimedia interactive program on the internet with more than 4 million unique users on demand on iTunes and on YouTube. And thanks to our friends at CRN Digital Talk Radio, we're syndicated to cable systems serving an additional 12 million households. I'm your host, Gary Baumgarten, and welcome back for this special edition of News Talk Online, the road to the White House. Today we are covering the Potomac primaries. The Republican primaries are not nearly as interesting as the Democratic primaries because over the weekend, the upstart senator from Illinois, Mr. Obama, did a hat trick. It swept the three primaries that occurred over the weekend, and it was projected that going into today's Potomac primaries, Virginia, Maryland, and Washington, D.C., that he would reign once again. And this puts Hillary Clinton's campaign in very, very bad condition. She was a presumptive, anointed candidate long before the campaign ever began. And here we are with Hillary now so concerned that she fired her campaign manager over the weekend. Alan Jacey, our political correspondent, joins us for this coverage today. Alan, welcome to the show. Have we seen any projections or any returns as of yet?
Yeah, Gary, right now, Virginia is being called for Obama, and it looks like a big win for him, and with proportional delegates, he is certainly going to pick up the lion's share in Virginia tonight. He'll probably also pick up D.C. In a late-breaking news story, Maryland has extended its primary for 1.5 hours due to bad weather. There are ice all over the roads in Maryland, so a judge has ordered the primaries to continue till 9:30 Eastern Time.
Well, I'll tell you, then that means we're going to be having a slightly longer night than I had anticipated because I figured that all the projections would be in during the first hour today. I could tell you that coming home from the office just now to do this show, I barely made it here on time because of the storm that we're having here. So I can certainly imagine that, and I'm sure that people of Maryland appreciate the fact that the judge extended the hours there. I'm looking at text, Alan, in our virtual auditorium. I see text from someone called Search for Liberal Honesty here on Paltalk.com. It blows me away that American people are thinking about voting for Obama. He has served 2 years in our Senate, missed a plethora of votes, has no experience. The National Journal regards him as the most liberal senator in Congress. And I guess these issues that the person Search for Liberal Honesty brings out has not really been addressed very much during the primary. But if Obama prevails, Alan Jacey, our political correspondent, I have to believe that these are the kinds of issues that will be raised during a general election.
Oh, absolutely, Gary. You know, one of the things that came up today was that McCain was back in D.C. performing his function as a senator from Arizona because in his belief that he is the presumptive nominee of the Republican Party, he's felt that it's been time to take himself off the campaign trail and go back into performing his duties as a senator.
Yeah, because he doesn't have to campaign. He doesn't have to campaign any longer. So, of course, he can be magnanimous.
But it's interesting, Huckabee is still making it a race. Virginia, which has already gone to Obama for the D's, on the R's, that primary is still listed as too close to call. And with about 10% of the primaries precincts counted, Huckabee has a narrow lead.
So you think that Mitt Romney is reevaluating his decision to leave the race?
Well, I think the Republican Party powers to be are certainly reevaluating that. But again, in the three-man race, they were all basically getting 35, 34, 33. All those races were fairly close. It was interesting that even in Arizona, McCain's home state, he did not get 50% of the vote there.
We're talking about the Potomac primary today, and we're going to stay with it until we get the results in. Virginia has gone according to the exit polling and the projections of the news media on the Democratic side. The race that is obviously more interesting to Obama. Maryland, they have extended the voting due to bad weather. A judge has ordered the polls remain open for another hour and a half. And D.C., we're still waiting for results from Washington, D.C. Our next caller is Matt, who's joining us from Wichita, Kansas. Matt, welcome to News Talk Online on Paltalk.com.
Well, Gary, I got off the phone with a buddy of mine that just got done in Virginia. He said there's still a lot of crowds was out for Huckabee. Could be a Huckabee night of victory. There is a majority. He had a lot of people at rallies. He spoke at that church, if you remember correctly, and I think could sweep it under McCain tonight. And if this happens, this will be a very interesting.
Well, okay, so Alan J.C., you just said that McCain has taken himself off the campaign trail, and he's gone back to do his duties as a U.S. Senator because he is anointing himself as a presumptive frontrunner, and he doesn't really need to campaign. What Matt from Kansas said, do you put any stock into that kind of speculation, that there's still a race on the Republican side?
Well, in order for the Huckabee to actually steal this nomination away from McCain, he'd have to win almost every delegate that's left out there in the primaries that have yet to be contested. It's a mathematical impossibility. So it would seem. Again, most of these states are proportional voting and not winner-take-all states. Under the winner-take-all scenario, Huckabee might have stood a chance, but it's going to be very difficult with proportional delegates.
By the way, Pony, one of our Pell editors, points out to me that Obama and McCain were both in the Senate today for a vote, but of course, since it is a Potomac primary, Alan J.C., our political correspondent, that's not so difficult for them both to show up for votes. I mean, they're obviously campaigning in the neighborhood.